Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the NBA slate on Draftkings for Wednesday, October the 26th. We do have a big slate on Wednesday per usual, 10 games today, so we're going to try and go through these 10 games rather quickly, guys. Just kind of give you my brief and quick thoughts on this slate, what does stand out to me taking a first look on Tuesday night. But before we do get started with the breakdown, as always, if you guys enjoy these DFS videos, hit that like button down below. I do always appreciate the likes. They greatly help out the channel, help out with the algorithm. Hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. I'm trying to upload these NBA DFS videos at least like Monday through Friday. Might start getting some videos up on the weekends too, but I'm trying to upload as much on the content to the channel as I can right now in terms of NBA and NFL. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Also, if you're new here and if you have not checked out PrizePicks is the sponsor of this video. You can sign up for PrizePicks using promo code NOAH, or just go down to the link in the description. You can click that link. It'll take you straight to PrizePicks. But make sure you sign up with promo code NOAH. When you sign up with my promo code, PrizePicks will match your first deposit up to $100. In PrizePicks, they are a player prop based DFS site. Very simple, very easy to use. You're just building out a lineup and entry of player props that you like. So you're taking over or under, you're taking more or less on a player's projection. They don't really have a ton of props posted right now at the time I'm recording this video on Tuesday night. But obviously they'll have a ton of props as we get closer to the start of the games on Wednesday. And per usual, I will have a couple picks I like for today. I'll be sharing those in a separate video. If you want to check out my PrizePicks video, it'll probably be posted. If it doesn't go up tonight, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it up tonight just because there's not many props up right now. It'll definitely be up sometime kind of early Wednesday. So check the channel on Wednesday if you want to see some props I like for PrizePicks today. But if you guys are not playing over there yet, sign up and use code NOAH. Make sure you get that deposit bonus when you do sign up. But let's talk through the 10-game slate for Wednesday, guys. We're going to start off with the first game of the night, the Magic and the Cavs. So, even though it's a big slate, there's definitely some unappealing games today, and these will be ones we kind of go through, somewhat quickly. I think this is a game we can kind of go through quickly. There's really not a ton that I'm loving in this one. Donovan Mitchell is going to continue to have a big role while Darius Garland is out, but Donovan Mitchell is almost 10K now, and I just don't know if I can pay this price tag for Mitchell. He's been really productive with the Cavs this year. He's put up over 50 DraftKings points in 3 straight games. He's playing massive minutes as well, but I'd rather get up to guys like Jokic, Giannis we have on the slate. You even have like LeBron, KD, Kyrie. There's just so many other pay-up options that I don't think Donovan Mitchell really stands out. Paolo Banchero's been playing really, really well with the Magic this year. He's also been getting big minutes, but he's 7,500, and I think that's an appropriate price tag for Banchero, especially for a tougher matchup against the Cavs. He's not like a standout option today. Jared Allen, I think, might be my favorite play in this game if I had to go to anyone. I think this is a decent spot for him against the Magic. Jared Allen's kind of been up and down this season, but we did see a big game from him last game against the Wizards. 38 minutes, had a double-double, 42 DraftKings points. Jared Allen is a pretty productive player on a point-per-minute basis. He can score and rebound. He can block shots as well. He's usually been about a fantasy point-per-minute player, if not better than that. And normally in competitive games, Jared Allen's going to play like mid-30s minutes. So at 7,300 as a low-owned tournament play, I don't mind going to Jared Allen today. But there's really no standout plays from this game. I've been playing Karis LeVert lately with Garland out, and LeVert's been solid, but he's not been great by any means. Last game against the Wizards, 23 DK points in 36 minutes. The game before that against the Bulls, 35 DK points in 33 minutes. His price tag is up to 6,200. I think that's where he should be priced. He's not like a standout play today, but he is getting a boost right now without Garland, and obviously Garland is still out. But yeah, man, that's really it for this game. This is just not one that I'm that interested in. There's not much that really stands out here. I think you're just kind of looking at some low-owned plays, like Donovan Mitchell. If you want to take a shot on him, it's fine, but I'm not in love with it. I think Jared Allen's probably my favorite play in this game. Even guys like Evan Mobley, Cole Anthony are playable, but that's really it. Nothing stands out here as a priority play. So let's move on to the next game and talk about the Hawks and Pistons. So looking at the Hawks today, at the top, you got DeJounte Murray at 9,800, Trae Young at 9,700. Same thing can be said about these two guys as we said about Donovan Mitchell. Murray's been playing really well with the Hawks this year. He's shown a lot of upside, 2 games with over 50 DK points. He's playing huge minutes. But I just think I'd rather go to some other pay-up options that we're going to talk about later in the video. So I'm not really prioritizing DeJounte Murray today. Trae Young always has a big ceiling, can put up a huge game any night. He's been pretty consistent this season. But at 9,700, I think he's priced where he should be. For Trae to be a guy that you have to have at his salary, he's going to have to put up 60. Can Trae put up 60 any night? He absolutely can, but I don't think I'm going to go out of my way to play Trey today. Cade Cunningham at 7,900 feels priced about right. He's been pretty disappointing this season. Had a pretty bad game on Wednesday or Tuesday night against the Wizards. I'm not really in love with Cade. I think at 7,900, he's not a standout option. Jaden Ivey's been playing pretty well for the Pistons this year, but he's also 7K now, so like he doesn't really stand out. John Collins has been playing well this year, but again, like he's almost 7K now, so like I really don't want to pay almost 7K for John Collins. I think he's a guy that should be priced like in the low sixes. I know he's played really well and he's been producing at a high rate, but he's not normally a guy that's going to average like as many fantasy points per minute as he has been. But it's good to see him playing well. He was pretty up and down last season, but he's been playing really well to start this season. He's averaging a double-double. He's fine at 6,800, but I just wish he was a little bit cheaper. Saddiq Bey, like I just don't really ever play Saddiq Bey, and especially on a 10-game slate, I don't think I'm going to go there. Clint Capella, it does feel way too cheap at 5,500, but he just hasn't been getting the minutes this season. Last game against the Hornets, just 23 minutes. He did get 32 minutes against the Magic, but it's really hard to tell when Capella's going to get like 34, 35 minutes, if he even does. I think most nights Capella's going to be like in the high 20s. Can Capella put up 40 Draftkings points in 26 or 28 minutes? He absolutely can. And against the Pistons, I mean, this could definitely be a good spot for Capella and one that he could have a big game in. I think the $5,500 salary does make him a viable option today. If he was like $6,500, I really wouldn't be interested. But I think at $5,500, this is cheap enough of a price tag that even if we just get like 28 minutes from Capella, he could still do good in 28 minutes for the salary. So I do actually like Clint Capella today for kind of a cheaper center option. And then like Isaiah Stewart, DeAndre Hunter, Bojan, like I'm not really looking to those guys where they're priced at. They're just kind of like there for me. Jalen Duran, not going to go there. I mean, that's probably it for this game. This is another one where there's really not a ton of plays that I'm loving. So let's go ahead and move on to the next game, the Sixers and the Raptors. This should be a decent game to watch, and it should be pretty close. But for fantasy, this is going to be a pretty ugly game just because these two teams are pretty good defensively, and both these teams do play at a really slow pace. So this might maybe be like a really low-scoring game. You got Joel Embiid at 10,400. Obviously, I liked Embiid a lot last slate against the Pacers. Really annoying that he got in foul trouble and the game wound up blowing out. This is a tough spot for Embiid going up against the Raptors. I know the Raptors have done a pretty good job historically at kind of limiting Embiid. I know they did a good job slowing him down in the playoffs, so I'm not like in love with Embiid today. He's always a guy you can pay up for. He always has a massive ceiling. I know he's got one of the highest usage rates in the league right now, but he's not someone I'm really going out of my way to play today. If I was playing like 150 lineups, obviously I would have some exposure to Embiid. But for me, just playing one lineup, I don't think Embiid makes the cut for me. And then you have Harden at 9,600. Harden was really, really chalky last slate. He was 9K then. Obviously, it was a really good matchup. This is a tougher matchup, and the price tag came up on Harden. So at 9,600 in a really tough matchup, I'm not really looking to Harden today. I don't think he stands out. He's been playing really well this season. He's been way more productive on a point-per-minute basis. He has shown triple-double upside almost every night. But again, at 9,600 and in a pretty tough spot, like I'm not going out of my way to play Harden. And then like Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, they all feel priced correctly. Scotty Barnes is questionable, so this will be something to monitor. He did not play last game. If Scotty Barnes is out again, obviously that's a little boost for Siakam, VanVleet, OG, Trent. But all these guys I think are pretty much priced appropriately. They all have an upside because we know that Nick Nurse is going to play his starters big minutes. Siakam last game played 42 in regulation. I mean, he's playing these guys like it's a freaking playoff game. VanVleet played 39. OG, I think, played 34, but he was in foul trouble. Gary Trent, I think, played a lot, 42 minutes. So, like, you're going to get the minutes from these guys. But, like, 6K for Trent, 6K for OG, 8,800 for Siakam. These feel like appropriate price tag. And it's a 10-game slate. Like, there's just a lot of other options. Probably my favorite play from Toronto would be Siakam, just because Siakam has played so well this season. Don't love the spot against Embiid, but, Siakam's just, he's got massive upside. He's going to play huge minutes. He might be my favorite play in this game if I had to play anyone in this one. Tobias Harris and Tyrese Maxey, where they're priced at, they don't really stand out. Do want to mention Presta Achiuwa because he did play really well last game, with Scotty Barnes out. They actually started this Okoklo guy. I've never heard of this guy, Koloko. I saw he was in the starting lineup and I legit had no idea who he was. He started and played 18 minutes. I'm guessing that if Scotty Barnes is out again, they start Koloko again. I wouldn't play him in DFS. Like, I don't think he's really viable. Precious Achiuwa is the guy that's really going to benefit if Scotty Barnes is out because he played 34 minutes last game without Scotty Barnes, was really, really productive. He had 22 rebounds. I don't know if we can expect that type of production for Achiuwa, but he's historically been a solid per-minute producer, and you know, it seems like if Scotty Barnes sits again, that Achiuwa is going to play probably, you know, high 20s, low 30s in minutes. So he would be viable, but probably would only go there if Scotty Barnes is out. But yeah, that's it for this game. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one, Charlotte and the Knicks. So on the Charlotte side, you know, or starting off on the Charlotte side, you know, we'll talk about some of these guys because, you know, do want to mention that Terry Rozier is doubtful today for the Hornets. Obviously, they're still without LaMelo Ball, and Terry Rozier is out as well. So some of these Charlotte pieces look really appealing. You got Gordon Hayward at 6,500. You got P.J. Washington at 6,400. Kelly Oubre 6,200, and then Dennis Smith Jr. at 6K. You know, I wouldn't play like all these guys in one lineup. I would definitely limit how many Hornets I play in one lineup, but I think these guys do look appealing. I mean, there's going to be opportunity for pretty much all these starters. You know, Gordon Hayward was not super productive last game, but he should definitely get a nice bump in usage without Rozier and LaMelo. Same goes for P.J. Washington. Was not very productive, but he also, I believe, was in foul trouble, and his minutes were limited because of that. Kelly Oubre was one of the guys that played really well last game. 41 DK points, had a double-double, played 32 minutes. He took 20 shots. Seems like he's going to be the guy that picks up a lot of the usage in place of Oubre, or in place of Rozier. So I think Oubre at 6,200, even though the price tag did come up a little bit, I do actually like Kelly Oubre quite a bit in the mid-range today. And I think Dennis Smith Jr. at 6K is still in play. I mean, Dennis Smith Jr. played 34 minutes last game, took 16 shots, had 18 points, 2 rebounds, 6 assists, a block, and 3 steals, put up 37 Draftkings points. You know, so far with the Hornets, he's been a fantasy point per minute player. Now without LaMelo and Rozier, there's gonna be plenty of minutes available, you know, for the backcourt guys, and I think Dennis Smith Jr. is a guy that's gonna soak up a lot of those minutes. He did start in place of Rozier. He's probably gonna start again. Even though the price tag came up to 6K, I do like Dennis Smith Jr. quite a bit today. Him and Oubre, I think, are probably my 2 favorite plays in this game. But on the Knicks side, there's definitely some guys I'm kind of interested in here because I think it is a really good matchup. You know, last season, Charlotte was a pretty fast-paced team. They weren't very good defensively. We'll see how they play out this season, but Julius Randle at 8,200 as a tournament play, I can get behind. You know, I think this is a pretty good matchup for Randle. I want to say that he has had some good success against the Hornets in the past. Not 100% sure on that, but just kind of remembering some of his previous performances. Like, I think he's done well against the Hornets throughout his career. It's a good matchup, though. The Hornets last season, again, they played at a fast pace. We'll see if they're a fast-paced team this season. They probably will be, especially when they get LaMelo back. I definitely think Randall's in play for GPPs. RJ Barrett and Brunson, I think, are both probably priced correctly, but they're definitely in play in a good matchup here. Brunson, I think at 6,600 would probably be my preferred of the two. Brunson has showed a pretty high floor this season. We haven't seen a big ceiling game from him yet, but 36, 31, 37 DK points has been super consistent. He's playing really good minutes. He's definitely still viable at 6,600. And then Mitchell Robinson is the last guy that I'll mention. Really good matchup here against the Hornets. You know, the Hornets gave up a lot of fantasy points to opposing centers last season. I think they're going to probably be that same way again this season. And very similar to Julius Randle, I think Mitchell Robinson has had some big games in the past against Charlotte. I could pull that up real quickly just to check. Let me look at his game log versus the Hornets because I think he's had some big games against them in the past. Let's see here. Because I want to say last season he had like a big double-double. Let's see. So there was one game he had like 17 and 12. He had 12 and 16, 12 and 11. So he's had some, you know, double-doubles against Charlotte. I thought there was one game where he had like almost 20 and 20. But yeah, I think it's a really good matchup for Mitchell Robinson. Last season, the Hornets gave up a lot of fantasy points to centers. You know, Mason Plumlee is not that good of a defender. Mitchell Robinson's a guy that can score and rebound and can block shots. So at 5,300, like as a GPP play, he should be very low owned on this slate. I definitely think Mitchell Robinson is viable. And yeah, that's probably it for this game. I think we kind of talked about all my options here. Definitely my favorite plays are like Oubre and Dennis Smith Jr. Those are the two guys I like most in this game. The next one, Brooklyn and Milwaukee. So this should be a really good game. Definitely one where we're going to have plenty of pay-up options. You got Giannis at 11.2. You got KD at 10K. Kyrie at 9,300. Drew Holiday at 8,500. Giannis, thumbnail for today, I think is a fantastic play here. I mean, Brooklyn should be a pretty fast-paced team this season. Defensively, they're probably not going to be that great. This is a spot where I think Giannis should dominate. Like, I don't know if Brooklyn really has the defensive pieces to stop Giannis. KD's a solid defender, but he's not going to stop Giannis. Ben Simmons is a solid defender, but he's not going to stop Giannis. Giannis is pretty much one of the most unguardable players in the league. This should be a Pretty fast-paced game. This should definitely be a high-scoring game. It should be competitive as well. At 11-2, I really like Giannis here. I think Giannis has a lot of upside. If this game can stay close, which it should, wouldn't be surprised to see like a 65, 70-point game from Giannis today. He's probably my favorite pay-up option overall. But then you have KD and Kyrie, who I think are probably just kind of like GPP plays. I've always said it, when these two guys are healthy, they're just not like priority spend-ups. They just don't offer the same upside that like Giannis and even Jokic do, especially when they're playing with each other. Now, we've seen KD have like 75, 80-point games whenever Kyrie's been out, and Kyrie's had some really big games whenever KD's been out. But when they're playing together, it's just hard to predict which one's going to have the big game if either one of them do. Last game, it was Kyrie. He put up 62 Draftkings points against Memphis. They're going to both play big minutes. They're both going to have a ton of usage. But, I just think where they're priced at, neither one stand out to me. Probably would slightly lean Kyrie over KD if I had to pick one of the two. I could see, doing a mini game stack of this game, playing Giannis and then running it back with, KD or Kyrie. Normally I don't like game stack in NBA, but if this game does wind up being really high scoring and if it winds up being competitive, you could see Giannis and or KD, Kyrie come out with really big performances. So that's something you could look to do in GPPs. Drew Holiday should definitely continue to benefit without Chris Middleton, but at 8,500, I think Drew is kind of priced right today. He's not like a standout play, but pretty good spot for him against Brooklyn as well. And, Ben Simmons, I've been saying it, Ben Simmons offers triple-double upside, and I think it's at some point he's going to have a triple-double this season, and he's going to put up 45 DraftKings points. I don't know when that game is going to happen, but it's 6,500, and again, in a good matchup in a fast-paced game, I think this does set up as a pretty good spot for Ben Simmons. They're probably going to want him out there to potentially guard Giannis. As long as he can stay out of foul trouble. He's had a tough time with fouls this year. He has fouled out in 2 out of their 3 games. But if he stays out of foul trouble, I think he's playing low to mid-30s minutes. He can stuff the stat sheet, can do everything when he's on the floor. He's not really been scoring the ball, but he's been getting those peripheral stats. At 6,500, I still think Ben Simmons is in play. And that's probably it for this game. Nicholas Claxton's been playing really well, but at 6K, don't love it. Bobby Portis at 5,600 feels priced right. Brook Lopez, I'm not really going to play on a 10-game slate. Royce O'Neal's been solid for the Nets this year. He's been playing big minutes. He's been doing Royce O'Neal things, knocking down threes, getting rebounds, getting us some assists. He always can get those defensive stats. He's never a guy that you're going to get excited to roster, but he has been playing pretty well for Brooklyn this year. He's been somewhat productive, and he's playing big minutes. He's a GPP dart throw. I actually don't hate rostering Royce O'Neal today, but I don't know if he'll make my one lineup. That's it for this game. Let's move on to the next one, Indiana and Chicago. So looking at this game, you got the Bulls' main guys, DeRozan, Vooch, LaVine. I've said it before, when all 3 of these guys are healthy and they're priced correctly, it's just hard to predict which one to go to, if any of them. Obviously, it's a really good matchup against the Pacers. I think the Pacers are going to be one of the worst defensive teams this season, so one of DeRozan, Vooch, or LaVine's probably going to have a big game here. I think Vooch actually might be my favorite because Indiana, especially if they're going to be missing Miles Turner again, Miles Turner is questionable. He could play today. If they're going to be missing Miles Turner here, I think it's a really good spot for Vooch. And I really liked Embiid the other day against Indiana. Obviously, he got in foul trouble and it didn't work out. But I think Vooch could definitely crush in this matchup. The Pacers are going to give up a lot of fantasy points to centers, especially until Miles Turner comes back. So Vooch might be my favorite Bull today if I had to play any of them. Tyrese Halliburton, while he's still below 9K, I think still a solid play. Halliburton's minutes have not been massive lately, but I think in most nights in close games, he's playing mid-30s minutes. At 8,300, he still has the upside to pay off this price tag. He's been super consistent this season, so still kind of interested in Halliburton. Benedict Mathurin, I forgot how you say his last name. At 6,200, he feels priced about right. He's been playing really well off the bench, but 6,200, I'm not going to go there. The same goes for Buddy Hield and Jalen Smith. Isaiah Jackson's been starting in place of Miles Turner. Maybe if Miles Turner's out again, you could look to Isaiah Jackson, but he only played 18 minutes last game, was in foul trouble. Pretty, much better matchup here versus having to go up against Embiid last game. But that's not, a guy that I really want to roster, I think, on a 10-game slate, especially when he's 4,600. The price tag has come up a little bit on him. So, yeah, that's really it for Indiana and Chicago. There's not a ton that I'm loving here. I think Halliburton and Vooch might be my 2 favorite plays. But let's go ahead and move on to the next game. Talk about the Spurs and the Timberwolves. Just saw these teams play the other day. We got Karl-Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert as kind of the top options here. Pretty much all the Minnesota guys, the most expensive options, Cat, Gobert, Russell, and Towns. Cat, Gobert, Edwards, and Russell. So, looking at these Minnesota guys, I said it in my last video. I felt like one of them was going to have a good game because the matchup was really good. And I can't remember who it was, but I think it was D'Angelo Russell. Yeah, D'Angelo Russell put up 47. Anthony Edwards put up 23, so he was disappointing. I know Gobert was disappointing. Yeah, he had 26. And then Towns, I think, was disappointing. Or Towns had 48, but this is another, basically same thing as I said the other day. Like, I think one of these Minnesota guys is probably going to have a good game here. San Antonio is going to be a team definitely to attack this season. They're not that good defensively. They're just a bad team in general. Russell had the big game last game. His price tag at 7,400 is not like super, super high. I think these guys are just like GPP plays. It was good to see Cat finally have a good game. Cat's been pretty underwhelming this year. But like at 9K, I'm not going out of my way to play Cat. I'm not really going out of my way to play Gobert. If you're playing multiple lineups, I think you can kind of sprinkle in some of these Minnesota guys. But in terms of playing one lineup, I don't think any of these Minnesota guys make the cut for me. In terms of building out one lineup. On San Antonio, though, do need to talk about San Antonio because they are going to be without Devin Vassell today. It looks like Devin Vassell is doubtful. So without Devin Vassell, he's been one of their highest usage and most productive players this season. So no Vassell should mean more opportunity for pretty much everyone. Keldon Johnson, Jakob Poeltl, Trey Jones. And then I'm guessing you'll either see Josh Primo or Josh Richardson start. Whichever one of Primo or Richardson starts, I think will definitely be in play for value. I'll be interested in whichever one starts. And then I think the main guys, Johnson, Poeltl, Trey Jones, all look solid still. I mean, Keldon Johnson's still only 6,800. I think this price tag makes him still kind of appealing. Obviously, when he was 5,900, he was like a slam dunk. At 6,800, obviously he's not like a free square anymore, but he's still a viable option. And then Jakob Poeltl played really well in this matchup, had a double-double, 40 DraftKings points. I think at 6,400, he's still a little bit too cheap. He finally cracked 30 minutes last game. If he plays 30 minutes again, I think there's a pretty good chance that Poeltl winds up exceeding value on his price tag. And then Trey Jones played really well last game too. He played 30 minutes, had 34 DraftKings points, nearly had a triple-double, 8, 7, and 8 for Trey Jones. I think with no Devin Vassell, that's definitely going to benefit Trey Jones. More usage for that backcourt. 5,500 price tag did come up a little bit on him, but I still think Trey Jones is playable here. This should be a very high-scoring, fast-paced game. I know on I think it was Monday, this game had like a 230-something total. Probably going to have another high total in this game. Definitely a one that I do have some interest in, more so on the San Antonio side because we do have some value there without Devin Vassell. But let's talk about the next game, talk about Houston and Utah, another one that we just saw played out a couple days ago. Looking at Houston, you got KPJ, Jalen Green, Jalen Smith as kind of your top options here. These Houston guards I did like quite a bit on Monday in this matchup, and I think going back to it makes plenty of sense. KPJ was really productive in this spot, put up 50 DraftKings points in 35 minutes. I think at 7,600, he is still in play today. Jalen Green's going to play big minutes as well. 36 minutes from him last game. Wasn't as productive, but we know him and KPJ are going to pretty much dominate the usage in this offense. And then Jabari Smith played really well. They actually started him at center last game. We'll have to see if they do that today. Şengün has already been ruled out. Bruno Fernandes out as well, and Jae'Sean Tate is questionable. I'm guessing if Jae'Sean Tate plays, he'd probably be in the starting lineup, but I'm not for sure on that. I think if Jabari Smith starts as center again, he's going to be a pretty intriguing option at 6,500. He's been relatively productive on a point-per-minute basis this season, and I think if he starts at center, that would definitely boost his production overall. 34 minutes last game, 42 DraftKings points, had 21 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, and 3 blocks. He also dealt with some foul trouble last game and lost some minutes because of that. He probably would have played more than 34 minutes had he not been in foul trouble. So, yeah, you could be looking at a big upside here for Jabari Smith. He's a solid play, too. Like, I think all these Houston guys, these top guys from Houston, all look pretty appealing. And then on the Utah side, Lauri Markkanen finally came back down to earth last game. 31 minutes, just 22 DK points after crushing to start the season. I wouldn't be scared of that. Markkanen still took 19 shots. Just didn't really shoot the ball that well. 0 for 6 from 3. The volume has been there. The shot volume has been there. He's been rebounding really well this season. He's been playing good minutes. Even though he busted last game in this same matchup, I'd be fine going right back to Markkanen today. I think he's still in play at 6,500. Clarkson and Conley are okay. I think if I had to pick one of the two Houston guards today, one of the two Utah guards, I'd go to Clarkson, but neither one stand out. Kelly Olynyk's been playing pretty well, been playing good minutes as a starter. 5,600, now at this price tag, I think Olynyk is just he's kind of playable, but I'm not running to roster Olynyk, especially not on a 10-game slate. But he's been playing well as a starter. He's been getting good minutes. 5,600, I think he's still okay. Jared Vanderbilt, he just continues to produce at a really high rate. The only issue with Vanderbilt is that he just seems to always be in foul trouble. Finally, though, last game, Vanderbilt stayed out of foul trouble. He played 32 minutes and he put up 34 DraftKings points. I think if Jared Vanderbilt stays out of foul trouble today, he's playing 30-plus minutes, and at 5,100, like, he is still someone that I do have interest in. He's a guy that can score around the rim. He doesn't really have much of a jump shot, but he gets those hustle stats. He'll get putbacks. He's a great rebounder. He can get defensive stats as well. So at 5,100, basically a fantasy point per minute player that's probably going to play 30-plus minutes, barring foul trouble or blowout. I definitely like Vanderbilt today. He might be one of my favorite plays on Utah. Him and Laurie Markkinen. Jared Vanderbilt and Laurie Markkinen I do like quite a bit from this Utah team. And that's probably it from this game. Like, I'm not really seeing anything else that I love. KJ Martin did start last game. Wasn't very productive, though, but he did play 34 minutes. His value is all going to depend on if Jayshawn Tate plays or not. If Jayshawn Tate plays, I'd be pretty much off KJ Martin. But if Jayshawn Tate is out again and KJ Martin starts, at 4,500, he is someone that I think is still in play for value, especially after he played 34 minutes last game. And then Garuba, do want to talk about him. So I think a lot of people were expecting Garuba to be a pretty good value last slate, but then we got word he wasn't starting. Once it was announced he wasn't starting, I didn't like him nearly as much, and he only played 11 minutes off the bench, which was really weird. I expected him to at least play like low 20s minutes, but 11 minutes, I didn't think he'd only played that few. I know they actually played Boban a little bit last game. If Garuba's not starting, he's not going to really be in play, and I'm guessing they're going to start Jabari Smith at center again. So, yeah, don't really want to go to Garuba here. Let's go ahead and move on to the last two games of the night, the Lakers and the Nuggets. So the Lakers today got some injuries to talk about here. Russell Westbrook is doubtful, so we'll have to see how that shakes out, the Lakers starting lineup. Obviously, we know LeBron, AD, Patrick Beverley, and Lonnie Walker are going to start. Who replaces Westbrook, though? It could be Troy Brown, it could be Kendrick Nunn, it could be Austin Reeves. I think those are the three most likely guys to start. We'll have to see. They're all very cheap. Nunn's 3,500, Brown's 3,400, Reeves is 3,300. I think Nunn would be my favorite if he starts, just because I think Nunn is the most productive out of all three of those guys. Now, Nunn only played 9 minutes last game, 10 minutes. He hasn't really been that productive this season, and he really hasn't been getting many minutes, but if he starts for Westbrook, I think he's going to be a solid value today. And then, if Troy Brown starts, he'll be okay. If Reeves starts, he'll be playable. But I would definitely prefer that Nunn start, because I think Nunn would be the value that I'd want to go to. But, without Westbrook, it's already the Anthony Davis and LeBron James show. But even, without Westbrook, the usage is just going to be massive for LeBron and AD. At their price tags, 9,900, 9,200, I think they're both firmly in play today. Wouldn't play them together on a 10-game slate, but if you want to go to one of the two, I don't hate it. I think LeBron is probably the one that I would prefer, just because LeBron's had a pretty high, I think he's had a higher usage rate. He's also been more productive on a point-per-minute basis. Plus, Anthony Davis going to be guarded by Jokic. There's, foul trouble concerns there. Jokic is a tough guy to score against. He's a tough matchup in general. So probably lean LeBron over AD today, but both guys in play here, especially without Westbrook. Jokic at 10-9, I definitely think is a solid pay-up option. I probably would still put Jokic behind Giannis today, but against the Lakers, a team that doesn't really play much defense, I know the Lakers played pretty fast last season. I think this season we'll see if they're a fast-paced team again. I think it's a good spot for Jokic. He can definitely have some success here. One of my favorite pay-up options for sure. Would still put him behind Giannis, but I do like Jokic quite a bit today. Jamal Murray at 6,700, probably can't go there again until he starts playing more minutes. He's been playing high 20s minutes. At 6,700, you need him to play like 30s and low 30s, and he's just not getting he's not really getting low 30s in minutes right now. So not interested in Jamal Murray. Aaron Gordon, I think at 6,500 doesn't stand out. Do want to mention that Michael Porter Jr. is questionable for today, so this will impact the Denver situation a little bit. If Michael Porter Jr. does not play, a little bit more usage for Jokic, Jamal, Gordon, but again, we already kind of talked about those guys. I don't think their usage would drastically change. And then value-wise, I don't know who would start for MPJ if he got ruled out. It probably would be like Bruce Brown or Jeff Green. Neither one of those guys would be that appealing. Bruce Brown, 4,500, feels priced about right. His usage playing with Jokic and the rest of the starters is going to be pretty minimal. And then same goes for Jeff Green. I'm not loving a ton in this game outside of the star plays here, like Jokic, LeBron, AD. And then obviously, if a guy like Kendrick Nunn starts for Westbrook, I kind of like him for value. Lonnie Walker's been playing well this season at 4,700. I don't hate him as a value play. He's one of the few guys that seems to be locked into consistent big minutes. So he's definitely in play for value. I do have some interest in Lonnie Walker. But yeah, that's it for this game. Moving on to the last game of the night, the Heat and the Blazers. So Portland, man, I want to talk about Portland. They've been running a really, really tight rotation. They've been basically playing like a playoff rotation, pretty much 9-man rotation with all their starters getting big minutes. Dame last game played 35 minutes, even in a blowout. Nurkic played, 35 minutes in a blowout. Anthony Simons played 36. Josh Hart played, 34. And then Jeremy Grant played how many? How many did Jeremy Grant play? He played 36. Like, you can expect 36, 38 minutes for Lillard, Grant, Simons, and Hart. And I think Nurkic, you can probably expect like low 30s. At their price tags, like I don't think any of them stand out today, especially in a tougher matchup against Miami. But you know the minutes are going to be there, and you know the starters are going to be the ones really dominating the usage. Portland, their bench, like they just don't really have much of a bench. You've got guys like potentially Justice Winslow, Drew Eubanks, Shaedon Sharpe. Like this is not a team. When you look at their bench, this is not a team that's really going to get much production from their bench. It's going to be the starters doing all the heavy lifting. So some of these starters I don't hate if you want to like mix them in if you're playing multiple lineups. Probably my favorite play from Portland would either be Nurkic or Josh Hart. Nurkic at 6,700 I think still has the upside to pay off this price tag. Don't love the matchup against Bam, but Nurkic is a guy that can stuff the stat sheet, can produce in any matchup pretty much. And then Josh Hart is just going to play really big minutes. He's a guy that can do everything when he's on the floor, can score, great rebounder, can get assists, he can get defensive stats too. Again, tough matchup against Miami. Price tag's up a little bit, but I still think Josh Hart is in play. And then looking at some of these Miami guys, I mean, Jimmy Butler, 8,600, he's just like okay. I mean, Jimmy's not been great this season. He hasn't shown a ton of upside, but he's playable here. Pretty solid matchup against Portland. Bam Adebayo been up and down this season, but he did have a decent game last game against Toronto. He's done well, in 2 out of the 4 games this season. At 7,200, like I still think Bam is in play at this salary. I don't think he's like a standout option today, but he's definitely playable. Probably my favorite play from Miami in general. And then Tyler Hero, I do want to mention, just because he's been playing so well this season, got 40 minutes last game. Price tag's up there now, like he's 6,900. A little bit tough to pay 6,900 for Hero, but I'm pretty sure he's actually been leading the team in usage this season, been playing really big minutes. He's still in play, in my opinion. I think you can definitely look to him. Hopefully, him and Nurkic hopefully don't get in a fight or something, because we know how that turned out last year. But yeah, that's probably it for this game. Like, there's really nothing else that stands out from Miami. I know Max Strus started last game with Caleb Martin on suspension, but Caleb Martin's back today. So yeah, that's really it for this one. There's not a ton that I'm loving in this Miami-Portland game. And that's really it, guys. 10-game slate for Wednesday. We kind of broke it all down game by game. I hope you guys, as always, enjoyed this video. Hit that like button if you did enjoy. Hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. Check out PrizePicks as well, sponsor of the video. Sign up for PrizePicks. Use promo code NOAH. When you do sign up with my promo code, you will get your first deposit matched up to $100. Always want to give a shout out to PrizePicks. If you guys are playing on PrizePicks already, you want to know some picks that I like for today, check out my video that I'll be posting on YouTube either sometime late tonight. Probably won't go up tonight, but sometime tomorrow on Wednesday, I'll have my PrizePicks video posted talking through some plays I like for today. Check that out if you want to know some plays that I'm liking. But yeah, good luck tonight, guys. As always, appreciate you watching these videos. I hope you did enjoy. Best of luck on this slate. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.